Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're gonna dial in some Van Halen tones. Rip Van Halen, great guitar player. And I'm using the Boss Katana Mkii tool, and I'm using my Charvel because I think it's the guitar that suits better this type of tone, at least from my guitars that I've tested with this Seymour Duncan pickup on the bridge. So I have here in Logic, as you guys can see, a session with some guitar isolated tracks that I got from the internet, from YouTube, Panama, Odd for Teacher, and Unchained. And this is the way I create my tones, by looking at the waveforms and using stock EQs, in this case in Logic, to see how they behave. So, for example, it's already in solo. Let me see, it's very loud or not. And this is Panama. Of course, these are not the best guitar tracks in terms of quality. They are very low in MP3, but you get a sense of it. So if I press play, let me put this louder. Okay, now what I do is Van Halen uses his guitar half step down, and this guitar is not half step down, and for that I would have to change the tremolo, accordingly to the new tuning. So I have a plugin that helps me where I can pitch the original sound off step like this. If I click here, so just I have an idea where to start and do the same thing here, if it's possible or not. I'm going to disengage the plugin now. I'm going to open my channel EQ. Okay, and I'm going to put this from the beginning and look at this. Now bear in mind that the frequencies that will be represented here are not necessarily the same in Boston Studio. Although it says here, for example, 200 Hertz, and in Boston Studio also says 200 Hertz. It might sound different, so you have to experiment, okay? For now, the sound I have, I'm in the brown channel, by the way, and here is Boston Studio, okay? And by the way, I have had some issues with the software, in the sense that sometimes I click a button. I don't know if you guys have this same issue as I do. I don't know why. Maybe I'll install it again. When I click some knob and nothing happens, so I have to like click here on top again, and the knob automatically goes where I left it. It's very random stuff. So if it happens in this video and you see me do like this, it's normal, because I don't know how to solve this problem. I have no idea. Let me know if you have any of these issues. So I choose the brown channel, the brown tone. And right now it's everything kind of at noon. On the not global EQ, on the final EQ, amp out, parametric EQ, I just cut here until up to 10 kilohertz, okay? And I can go a little lower, but it has a lot of highs in its tone. So, and the chain is number 4, because I might need to put all of these effects before the amp, okay? It really depends. So for now, the sound that I have is this one. Okay. Speaking about this guitar, if you have one like this is not a very reliable. I mean, the tremolo is good, but it has locking tuners, but it goes out of tune very, very easily. I've posted and I've tried to get help on Facebook about this issue, and it told me to replace the nut and stuff like that. The guitar is wonderful, it plays like a dream, sounds fantastic, it's super well built, but it has this issue. I cannot use a tremolo in any way like Van Halen, anyway he uses a floorboards, but no, any dive or something, just a little bit, and it goes out of tune. Okay, so let's listen a bit to this intro, Panama, and check the frequencies here. This video will be automatically demonetized, but I don't care. There it goes. When I click stop, the graphic EQ stays there. So I can see the frequencies, okay, that are being boosted or cut. And the first thing I do is try to emulate this on the EQ on the Boss Katana Mkii software. So I see there's a little bit of a bump here around 150 Hertz probably, okay. So we're going there on the Boss Katana and start by effects. The effects are here in change. You can use mod, but let's go to effects. I'm going to engage it, go to effects tab and choose my graphic EQ. For now it didn't give me any problems with the knobs. Let's hope it says like that. So it's something here in between, okay. So I won't go for 250 because I think it's not that frequency, but I'm gonna boost this like to see, okay, now it's responding like 2 decibels, okay. This is just very little movements on the EQ. So I have to play half step back, right? All right, let's take a look at the EQ again. Now there's a scooped section around here, 200, and then boosts again around 300. So it's very oscillating, as you can see in the graphic EQ. So I'm going here to 200, 250, and take like 3 decibels. You can do this in 2 ways, by looking at the graphic EQ and trying to match the frequencies, or by listening using your ears. So the method I use is I use both, but essentially I trust my ears, because you will see that most of the times what I'm doing in Boston Studio will not represent what's here, okay? So I hope I took that off, put that in bed, like some guys say, I don't know. Okay, now 400, there's a little bit of a dip here between 400 and 1K, although there's a spike here. So let's turn down this around -4 for now, and it basically cuts around 8K. Okay, so I'm gonna put this down a little bit, like -10. Let's see how it sounds now. Okay, I'm gonna disengage it. It's very subtle, but it's there. One thing I'm gonna do is use the variation mode, because automatically in this channel will give me that top end. Okay, so check it out. See, we got it. So with this, I don't have to move too much the treble and stuff like that. So let's take a listen again from the beginning. Okay, although you see this line here, which is basically the low end, you can't really hear it unless you're using headphones or stuff like that. I have studio monitors and I can really listen to it. So this next step, I won't do anything, but on the parametric EQ, I just got around 63 Hertz and it's good to go. I'm going to increase now the high gain just a little bit, like 1, please. Okay, and now I'm going to, I think I'm kind of happy with this sound right now. By the way, I'm using my SM57, and as you guys know, if I put the mic in different positions, you have a totally different tone. Just 1 millimeter and it sounds different. So it will sound different on your system, no matter what. This is the basic fundament of a preset. It's a starting point. It's not the final tone. Sometimes it works out as a final tone. I've had presets from many of my friends and customers that are spot on, that I didn't realize you could do that. So it is what it is. But I also think, I'm not sure, but I believe this was kind of recorded double track it probably, because it makes a huge difference, okay? And then the guitars in some parts are very to the left and the reverb to the right. These are techniques that you can't get out of an amp unless you're running 2 amps in stereo. You cannot do this. This is post-processing and stuff like that. So recorded normally, then they put the guitar on the left and the reverb on the right. I can do that, but when I'm doing patches, I'm not going to emulate that because that's impossible, okay? Now I'm gonna take some mids because, see, the knob is not responding. Okay, so I click here, and now, no, not yet. Now it went to 0. I'm gonna take some mids, a little bit, just a little bit, because it's a little bit scooped down there. And let's see how it's going now. Here in my room sounds as close as possible to the original. You have to check in your room. I have some acoustic treatment. It is very important in your room because you can have the best amp or the best speakers. If you have 0 acoustic treatment, it will sound like shit. So basically that's it. And like carpets and how do you call this? I don't know. But I have some other acoustic treatment by Auralex. It's not the best, but it's the cheapest one, okay? Now, let's see about the effects. I might go into DQ again, but let's see about the effects if it's just the reverb, because there's a lot of reverb going on here. I think it's, you cannot tell unless you know exactly what I used, but I'm going to do something here which will be kind of cool because I'm going to use my delay, okay? This delay here, and on the chain, delay 2 is here and delay 1 is here. So I'm going to change my chain because I want my delay to be on the loop. And I'm going to the delay. I could use delay 2, but I don't want to. Going to delay. I can use a tape echo, there's no problem, but I'm going to do this with a very short time. So it will act like an echo, sort of, okay? And I cut it like it is, it's fine. Feedback will be minimum. And let me check out with effect level like this, how it sounds. There's a little bit of that something extra that he uses on that track. Let me increase the feedback, the effect level. And suddenly you already have kind of a reverb, because delay and reverb are basically the same thing. But I'm going to disengage this for now. I'm going right into my reverb. I don't know what reverb you use, if it was a digital or a spring, probably not a spring reverb. I'm going to use a plate reverb, like a digital reverb here. For now, let's leave the time as it is. It's a lot of reverb time. Low cut, 400 Hertz, high cut, 5K, so let's leave it like 8. Density, and now effect level. Put this at 45 and see how it sounds. It leaves that trail that you can listen to in his original recording, okay? Even a little bit more. Now I'm starting to notice something about the EQ that is not right. So I'm going to engage my delay again. Effect level around 25. See how it sounds like. Okay, one thing that I noticed, it's I don't want to overdo it with gain, because there was not a lot of gain on the amp. But I'm going to increase the presence here, and I'm going to stick it with I'm going to stick with this vintage mode because it's one that sounds best to me. But I might try to use a booster, not necessarily to oversaturate, but to give it a little bit of a bump. So I'll start with a clean boost and see what happens. The effect level is here. Let me put this on default, like 0, 0, tone also 0. And probably maybe we can sculpt the tone from here, okay? So without the booster, one thing I'm going to do on the reverb is I think it's not cut it so low because all the guitar is embedded in reverb. So a little less even. I want to capture the sound of the guitar. You could use a pre-delay here as well, like this, which is crazy, but... Okay, let's leave this alone. And now let's go to the booster, engage it, just where it is. So there's what a little bit of a bump that I needed. If you guys notice on the song, let me check here, Unchained, the bottom hand of his tone is not necessarily like the modern tones, metal tones. It's not, you know, it's not chugga chugga kind of tone. It's much more loose. It's not tight at all. Okay, let's proceed. Listen a little bit more of this. And although it seems like it cuts here, sometimes a little bit of a spike until the 10K. Now I don't know if this is from the MP3 quality or not. So there's not much distortion going on. Okay, so okay, now I listen too much bass. Probably there's too much bass when you used to play next to his cab, but not in this circumstance. So this is something that you can increase depending on your room. Also, is very important. So I took a lot of bass, I took it out. I'm going to increase just a little bit the gain, okay, and see where this leads us. I want the sound to be a little bit more kind of fuzzy. So I'm going to increase the drive here around this. It's too much, I know, but... And now decrease here and test to see what's the best solution. Remember, your low end can't be tight as a modern metal thing, okay? Increase a little bit more and decrease a little bit more here and try again. I'm always playing the other one. Okay. Oops. Always difficult to play this harmonic. I'm gonna try the other way around, put this drive like this and the gain like this. Now it's oversaturated, so I have to find a sweet spot. Try like this. Regarding my delay, I'm going to increase it just a little bit. I don't want feedback. The feedback has to be very low or almost non-existence. I'm going to disengage the reverb just to listen to the delay. Let's put it louder. Now engage the reverb. Take a little bit. Well guys, I don't know what you think, but it's sounding great here. It's sounding good, so I think I won't touch anything else. There's some stuff here on the EQ that you could touch. I can't believe my neighbor is using his tools to make some. There's some stuff you could use here to fine-tune your sound, especially if you use like low mid Q and use a high value to spot for some weirdness. Like I'm gonna play a note. Like this. Let's get rid of this frequency a little bit. And it sounds clearer. Now I'm going to the reverb and I cut it a little bit more, just a little bit more. Okay, it's sounding great. Now you can change several stuff depending on your room, depending on you, because everyone is different, so it's going to sound different for everybody. And this is a very important question I want to address. Even if I had here everything Edward Van Halen used at the time, I would never sound like him. Me or you never sound like him anyway. So you have to be him. But taking from the equation Van Halen, which is the most important part, of course, but taking it out, you have to start with your amp, your guitar, especially use an humbucker guitar because you'll need it. And also you have to check your room for standing waves and reflections, meaning that every time I play something here, there's not too much reflection, meaning echo, okay? It's more of a muffled place where I can increase treble. And that sometimes relates to some guys, this sounds very fizzy. Yeah, probably using it in your bathroom or something like that, okay? So I always say, or I've said before, how my studio works, how I record things, and you guys probably seen that I have some Mkii treatment. That's it. Okay, so I'm gonna, now the volume is up to you. I'm gonna write this. Once again, it's not working. Okay. AV8 tutorial will be the patch. Now I'm going to Librarian and export it. Where is it? Oh, sorry, I didn't create a live set. So create a live set, AV8 tutorial, can be like this. Now drag and drop for those who don't know this, and now export, select AV8 tutorial. I want to export the file, can be on desktop, and it's done. It's already there. So I hope you guys found this tutorial good for you and informative, because this is the way I create my patches most of the time. When I don't have access to a certain amp or say a certain tone like this, you have isolated guitars, I have to go by here and try to do my best. Sometimes I try to isolate the guitar with some plugins that I have that do their job in order for it to be a little bit more concise and not in the middle of a mix, because sometimes you have these big chunky guitars in the middle of a mix, but you wouldn't believe if you listen to the guitars alone. Sometimes they have no bass, sometimes they're fizzy as hell, but it fits the mix, and that's what matters, okay? So I hope you guys find this tutorial helpful and enjoy the patch. The link is in the description below. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It will be a great support. And I want to thank you, last but not least, from the bottom of my heart. I've been receiving a lot of emails. If you haven't seen my last video, please go check it out. A lot of messages and a lot of great support from all of you, from the great community of Boss Katana users regarding that issue that I had and I'm still having. But I promise you that next week I'll have some news regarding what I can do about it, okay? And if it goes well, you guys know the rest. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. Cheers.